Okay, tonight's class is a very special mock Seder. We're going to go through the Seder night. We're going to explain what's happening, especially this year with Shabbat first and then Seder night. Any questions you've got as we go along, please do ask. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be shy. And let's get into it right now. Okay, fine. So first of all, I think the most important thing is to note and to say, I'm just going to press the present button. Can everyone see this? Yeah? Everyone can see the screen? Yeah? Ollie, you can see it? Everything you need to know to have a tip-top Seder night. Okay, before we start, Chevra, most important thing is selling the chametz. Okay, so really we have to get rid of all the chametz. So any leaven, that's really kind of relevant for things like any breads, any rolls, any yeasty products like marmites, Vegemites, things like whiskey. Okay, all those kind of elements that are very much chametz, you have to get rid of. The ideal thing is to obviously get rid of them completely. Pastas, cakes, just biscuits, get rid of it is the best thing to do, not have any whatsoever. However, if you have got certain things like, for example, expensive whiskeys or certain things you just like you use all the time that are hard to get hold of, or you really kind of feel that you don't want to just use up or throw away, you can sell it. Now, it's really important if you are going to sell it, just to make sure that it's done as soon as possible. Now, the JLE tonight is, the JLE has on its website has the form that you can just go onto. You can click on it, you kind of download it and I think send it back, but it has to be by tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. So I would say grab it if you can, please. Don't leave it to the last minute. If you have not yet sold your chametz, please do it tonight and get that form back tonight before 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Adam Aloof.
And you text your rabbi an hour before Passover, selling in your chametz.
Yes. that was a little kind of in joke there from that moment when Steve Bernstein famously sent me a message just before Pesach saying, "Rabbi, I've sold you all my chametz." One of the funniest moments of our career, right, Steve? Do you want to remind everyone about that?
Wait, hold on. This time I've got to sell it before Shabbos, not before.
Yes. Sell it. So sell it tonight. Okay, go.
Wait, I don't understand. Why was Steve selling you his chametz?
He was joking. He was doing it to give me a minor heart attack. Basically, he knew what he had to do, but instead he said, "Rabbi, I've made you in charge of all my chametz. You're in charge just before Pesach, which would be luckily very problematic." And he did it as a joke, which is I think quite a good Jewish joke. Steve, you killed me with that one. No?
Well, I thought it was in the spirit of it, no?
Definitely in the spirit, definitely in something, that's for sure. Guys, so it's really not hard to do. It's really not hard thing to do. Just go on the JLE website now, and even if you're abroad, Daria is joining us live from Rome. Welcome, Daria. Buonasera di Roma. Molto bene, grazie. Make sure that you do sell that chametz, okay? Sean, if you haven't yet sold your chametz, really easy, jle.org.uk, there's a thing in there saying sell your chametz, get the form, it's not hard, you can get it done. Welcome, David Webb, all the way from Kosher Kingdom. Okay.
Rabbi?
Yeah?
On the website, it says we have to return it to Rabbi Kirsch?
Yes, so that's what I was saying to you. So if you can't, I think if it's on the website, it might well say there's something on the lines of take the photo of it and email it. Is there something like that on there at all?
No.
Okay, if not, then do me a favor. It's okay. Just download the form, write it out, take a photo of it, and WhatsApp that photo to me tonight. Okay.
Will do. Yeah. Thanks, Rabbi.
Okay. Perfecto. Daria, you're sorted for selling chametz in Rome, Daria? Yeah, Daria?
Yeah. Hi.
How are you doing? Nice to see you. You sorted out for selling your chametz in Rome? It's all sorted?
I will.
Okay, fine. Because if you let me know if you know any issues, like any problems. Okay, so it's really important. That's one thing I want to say. Numero uno was to sell chametz. Okay, carry on. Next thing, we know this year is a very special case. Pesach 2021 it's the first night of Seder is on a Saturday night. So we're going from Shabbat into Pesach. So that's going to mean there are certain things that happen this year, which are very rare. I think the last time this was in 2008. And before that was, I think, 1994. Okay, let's go. So here's some of the things. And by the way, I'll send you this PowerPoint afterwards. So you've got it. So everything you need is there. Okay, number one, you've got to ensure that any chametz is destroyed or sold. Okay, so check for chametz on Thursday night. So there's a beautiful tradition to take a candle and a feather and to go and check for the chametz That really should be kind of after you've already done the real like checking, making sure that all your cupboards, your coats, coat pockets, bags, car, all those things. There's always like someone's got that bread roll in the glove compartment of the car, whatever it is. Just make sure you've checked everything. Then tomorrow night, Thursday night, you'll do a check, and then there's in the Haggadah, which you should be able to get hold of. There is a special formula which we say a bitul. Bitul means nullification. So you make a statement saying that any chametz which you can't see and that you own, you nullify it. You don't own it anymore. Okay. Friday morning, okay, you would burn or destroy any of the chametz that's remaining. There's a bit of bread or whatever. Now, you can this year keep hold of some chametz for the challah for Friday night and Saturday morning. The challah meaning the lechem mishnah, the bread you would use for the Friday night meal and the Shabbat morning meal. Of course, there's a mitzvah to have your meal with some sort of bread. Okay, so this year you would keep behind, like maybe, I think a pita bread is the best thing because pita is not so crumbly. Okay, you'll keep behind a pita for Friday night and a pita bread for Shabbat morning. Okay, so everything except for that, which you'll put in a bag and have it very clear where it is. Everything else has to be burnt and destroyed and got rid of, okay? On Friday morning by 11 o'clock in the morning. Now, on Friday night, you can eat that pita, but again, most of your stuff will be Pesach. All your food will be Pesach kind of food. Don't have any matzah yet. Keep the matzah for Saturday night. Don't be having no matzah. Matzah happens on Saturday night, not before, okay? So Friday night, you can go outside. Daria probably can go on your balcony and eat in the balcony, or I can imagine go outside and someone's singing Nes and Dorma, Nes and Dorma, Nes and Dorma, and while you're eating the pita, and then the crumbs are going everywhere. But okay, so you go outside, or just do it in a place where you make sure that no crumbs are going to fall in a place which is going to be problematic over after Shabbat. So you do really almost like lab conditions. Yes, Stofi.
So, assuming we live in an area where we can carry the chametz, why can't we feed the ducks with it?
You could just throw it outside on Shabbat. So you just chuck it into your bin. Okay.
I want to feed the ducks.
I mean, if you need to feed a dog, but that's a whole separate issue in Hilchos Shabbos. Let's just eat your pita, or just any crumbs that are left over or bits. Unless you throw it in your wheelie bin outside, you can even flush it down the toilet. But just eat it. Eat it. It's not hard to eat a pita. If there's anything left over, you've got to get rid of it. Of course, again here you've got to have it all left over. Make sure you do not eat on Saturday morning any chametz after 10 a.m. UK time. On Saturday morning, no chametz to be eaten after 10 a.m.
Does shul have to be earlier than the normal time?
Yes. So this year, almost every shul is going to be earlier. Most shuls are starting at like 7:15 in the morning to make sure you're over by say 9, and then you'll have your meal quite quickly in the morning. So that again, when I say your meal, you have to make sure any bread has been eaten by 10 a.m. Okay, so most people the shuls around here. One of them is at 7 o'clock, one's at 7:15. So a lot of the shuls are praying early, yes. And then people come home and you have your meal, but no chametz after 10 a.m. and make sure everything's by 11:03 a.m. You've got no chametz in your possession nowhere. There's nothing left by 11:03 a.m. on Shabbat morning. Now,
why couldn't shul be after 10 o'clock, so you have your meal first and then do shul?
Great question, Sharon. So here's the story. We're not halachically allowed to eat before we pray. Now, again, if you want to have a cup of coffee or some water, whatever, that's fine. But until we've said that first, the prayers of shacharit, then we don't eat. So what you can do, which is what some shuls are doing, it's funny you should mention this actually, what some shuls are doing is they're having like a shacharit, and then after the shacharit services, people are going home and having their meal. And after they finish their meal, they're going to come back to shul around 10:15 and do Torah reading and the musaf afterwards. So that's what some people are doing. But really, the reason why you can't eat your morning meal is because really you have to daven, you pray first. And that's a whole different class, which I'm happy to give one day, about the beauty of tefillah, of praying, and how prayer is our sustenance, is what sustains us, and how we don't eat before we pray. Does that answer the question?
It does answer my question, but then it kind of leads me to another one, which is, does that mean then you don't have breakfast before you go to shul on Saturday? Because
I
that's
I don't have breakfast before I go to shul on Saturday. No, that's why. Yeah, I don't have breakfast before, and yeah, it's an interesting one in terms of also maybe, you know what, maybe after we could do a class about this, about ABCs, about Shabbat and eating, all those kind of things. It's quite good. It's quite a good topic. Not for now, but ultimately you're not really eating much before you've prayed at all. And that's why actually in Israel, they get it right. They pray at 8:30 in the morning in Israel, and people are having their lunch by 10:30 a.m. most time in Israel. They have a really early lunch, which is more like a brunch, I would probably say as well. That's the answer. Okay, we'll come back to that another time because we've got lots to get through. Good question, Sharon. Okay, Seder shit, third meal in the afternoon, no bread at all. Please do not be eating bread. So you can use fruits, grapes, some meat, potatoes, that kind of stuff. That will cover you for the third meal. Obviously, you don't want to come to the Seder hungry. Not a good idea because you'll be hangry, which is obviously amalgamation of the word angry and hungry, and you get the word hangry. I like that, mate. Okay, is that cool with everyone? Any questions, please, maybe send me a WhatsApp afterwards for any clarification on any of this stuff, okay? But it's just to make sure that's clear with everyone. The most important thing to really know is that by 11:03 on Shabbat morning, there's no chametz, no challah, no pita, nothing at all. Yeah? Perfecto. Is that cool with everyone? I know everyone, it's just got complete silence now. Even though we've got some new additions to that, new
Why is
people
it
on the
so
class.
early if Pesach doesn't start till the evening?
Say that, Steve, what?
Why is it so early if Pesach doesn't start?
Okay, fine. So that's okay. We'll have to come back maybe at the end of tonight's class. I'll go and explain to you about how the actual the Korban Pesach, the Pesach offering, was offered in the afternoon of the 14th of Nisan, which is basically the afternoon before Seder night, and therefore the Isur, the prohibition of having chametz already kicks in from the afternoon before Pesach starts. Even though we're not doing Seder night till the night, we're not allowed to have chametz already from midday of the day before. But that's not for now. Ben Saunders, is so far so good? Enjoying so far? Understanding it so far? Okay, but it's helping. Okay, wunderbar. And again, Sean, once again, great to have you on board, Sean. First time caller, long time listener, Sean. Great to have you on the show. Okay, back in we go. I'm just gonna move this here because I just moved that. Okay, right. Now let's go into Seder night. Okay, Seder night is what you came for. Seder night is what we're going to be discussing. Let's go. Okay, so on Seder night, we've got an abundance of mitzvahs that we're going to be able to do. There are going to be two of those mitzvahs on Seder night, which are called mitzvahs d'oraisa. That's biblical mitzvahs. That's mitzvahs which obviously written in the Torah, one has to do this. And they are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 mitzvahs, which are d'Rabbanan, that's called rabbinic mitzvahs. They are also coming in on that night. So let's go through them. The biblical mitzvahs are, number 1, eating matzah. In fact, it's the only biblical mitzvah of eating that we have nowadays. Obviously, back in the days of the temple, there was the eating of sacrifices, sacrificial meat, korbanot. Nowadays, of course, we can't do that. But back in the days of the temple, we did. But nowadays, the only mitzvah d'oraisa of eating is the mitzvah of matzah on Seder night. It's a biblical mitzvah we do by actually eating. How wonderful is our religion to be? It's like a mitzvah to eat. Beautiful, I love it. Okay, the other one is the telling over of the story of the Exodus from Egypt. That is a mitzvah to tell over the story. And we're going to see a bit later that even if you're on your own and there's no one around and you're literally just you sitting on your Jack Jones in a room somewhere, there's still a mitzvah to tell over that story on that night. It's a really beautiful thing. And I want to touch on it a little bit later about why it's so important. Okay, the d'Rabbanan mitzvahs are eating maror, eating the afikomen, we'll come to that a little bit later, having quattro, Daria, how do you say cups in Italian?
Bicchieri.
Say it one more time.
Bicchieri.
Quattro bicchieri del vino.
Bravissimo. Di vino.
Di vino, sì, grazie. And of course, saying or singing Hallel. And last but not least is the idea of demonstrating aristocracy and the idea of being free. Such an important thing on Seder night, to feel that we are free, to be demonstrating that freedom. And we do that. Who knows? How do we actually demonstrate that aristocracy on Seder night? How do we do it, guys?
You lean.
Beautiful. Sharon, obviously they're live on the show. We lean to the left when we eat. Last year, I did a very cool thing. We have a chaise longue, like a kind of a long thing, and I brought it to the table and I lifted up on these breeze blocks and I leaned the whole meal, and it was so cool. So if you got the opportunity, like a sofa, bring your sofa to the table and lift it up and lean, do it, because it's just very, very cool thing to do. The Romans did it, and maybe Daria still does it in Rome. I don't know. Okay, now let's going on. So far, so good. Great, fantastic. Okay, next. Checklist. What are you going to need? If you're running a Seder, what do you need to have? Okay, you need to have a Seder plate with all its various parts. We're going to come through in a second what that means. You need to have Matza and some sort of Matza cover. You need the wine or grape juice, a Haggadah, which is obviously the book you need for Seder night. You'll need a cushion to lean on, and you'll need a cup of wine also for Eliyahu Navi, for Elijah the prophet. That's coming up a little bit later. These are things really that you need in that checklist. David Webb, have you got those things? You're looking a bit nervous as you're driving.
Do I have? Of course. I have a bottle of Eliyahu.
איזה יופי. אתה מתוק כזה, מתוק, אני רואה אותך עכשיו באוטו. Bellissimo. Okay, bene. Let's go. So what does the Seder plate look like? Here is one Seder plate. Okay, you got all the various aspects. I'm going to go through each one of these now. I'm going to talk you through what all these parts are of this Seder plate. You've got the Zroa, Beitza, Maror, Charoset, Karpas, and Chazeres, together with the 3 matzahs. Just a quick one, just to make sure everyone knows. You're going to need salt water, but you can't make salt water on Shabbat. Cue a question from Steve. Steve will come back to it a bit later. You can't make, don't ask it. I knew you were going to ask it. You can't make salt water on Shabbat. Just deal with that. And so just make sure you've done your salt water already on Friday before Shabbat comes in.
It's salt water's muksa.
It's not muksa. Making salt water is problematic. It's part of the issue.
Separating, like,
it's not to do with muksa at all. It's to do with the idea of preserving. You're not allowed to preserve things in Shabbat. You're not to. It's part of the tanning process was preserving, and they use salt to do that. To make salt water is problematic. Okay, so you can't make salt water, and you can't also do the roasting of the bone that you might use. Some people use a bone from a lamb. Some people use a chicken neck or something like that. So again, you can't do that on Shabbat. So you'd have to have that ready roasted before we go. Okay, so let's go through each one. What are these things? So what is the egg and what is the zral? There were 2 sacrifices. Guys, this is so important. It's so good to go through. There were 2 sacrifices that we would bring on Pesach. One was something called the Korban Pesach. That's the Paschal lamb. Okay, which is one of the most important mitzvahs that we had back when the temple stood. You would get into groups, you would come to the temple, right? You'd all rock up there together, you know. Any other Kohanim here on the call? We've got any Kohanim? We've got a few. I'm not sure. Andrew's joining us. Welcome, Andrew Cohen, live from Edgware. We'll be staying there together with me. We'll be taking your lambs, and basically it's part of that. The blood is taken up to the altar, but you get to eat that lamb together in your groups. And we can't do that anymore. There is no temple. So basically, we, as a memory for that sacrifice, we have the bone of meat bone. Okay, that's either chicken neck or a lamb bone. The thing about the egg, that's to remind us of another sacrifice that we would bring called the Korban Chagiga, which David Webb is a bit of an expert about, the Korban Chagiga. That was another sacrifice we bring because it was a happy time. It was a festival. Everyone was making this festival, this pilgrimage to Jerusalem, and you would bring animals with you to eat there. And as a memory of that, we have an egg. Why an egg? Why an egg? So it's because, well, I actually gave a class recently about the egg. One of the reasons is because it's a sign of mourning, the fact that we can't be in Jerusalem, we can't actually be in the temple. So we have an egg, which is a sign of that, but also a sign of life. It's a sign of the circle of life, about the idea that within the egg, this life is gestating constantly. And the same idea also for us on Pesach, we're kind of looking forward to this idea that even though we are still in exile, even though we're sitting here in exile, moment of exile, we're still scattered throughout the world. Yes, we have Israel and the state of Israel, but we are still scattered throughout the world. But we believe that we're all on that journey back to the fulfillment of all the promises of the prophets to be back at the third temple eventually, very, very, very soon. So that's the egg. Moving on, MAROR. Okay, MAROR is the bitter herbs, and we'll eat it to remind us the bitterness of Egyptian slavery. And again, you need to be able to taste the MAROR. We did this last week, those with us in the class last week, you need to be able to taste the bitterness. Who wants to remind me why? Emily de Care Carmel. Why do we have to be able to taste the MAROR, Emily?
Because it was a bitter time being slaves, and
That's
we
true,
need
but
to
we said
feel
last
one of the
week
mitzvahs of Seder is that we need to feel like we're actually living it.
Exactly, and we
So we
said
need to
also that it's
experience
okay
the
to feel the
bitter.
pain. That's what we said last week. It's okay to feel the pain. So people run away in life, they run away from the pain and said, oh, Dan, it's too much. I can't taste the pain. I don't want to taste pain. We said in order to taste the good times, you have to be prepared and strong enough to taste the bad times as well. Okay, many people use horseradish, this kind of white stuff, horseradish to use for the maror. However, also, there's something called chazeres. Chazeres is the other vegetable which people use as the maror, which is like a romaine lettuce. Okay, that's what we call chazeres. That's another thing which we use for maror. The stalks are sweet at first, but the longer they stay in the ground, the harder, more bitter they become. So too, the Jews were at first welcomed to Egypt with open arms, but the attitude soon changed and we were enslaved. So that's why the chazeres, the romaine lettuce, is also used as maror. We'll come back to that a bit later about how you do it. Okay, so you've got romaine lettuce, you've got the white horseradish if you want. Charoses, or if you are Sephardi, you call it charoset. If you're real Sephardi, your charoset, let's hear from Sharon Cohen. Sharon, what's your charoset made from?
Date syrup and walnuts. It's
Very
great.
nice. Date syrup, you've got to love it. That's true. Date syrup is all about, if you're even slightly Iraqi or Bahrainian, then you're going to be having date syrup for your charoset. No question about it. Julia, in Russia, what do they have for charoset, Julia?
I actually don't know how you pronounce it in Russian. Yeah, I because here I have David Webb, so here I'm covered.
Okay.
So my Seder is covered.
Okay, fine. So David will tell us later. But I do want to know if it's okay with everyone. We can support Freddie Fulton. If you could tell us, Freddie, what is your secret ingredient of your charoset, Freddie?
That is an excellent question. The secret ingredient is, of course, getting my mum to make it. But when I do help, my secret ingredient is I like to get a little Lego man who looks like an Egyptian taskmaster, and I shape the charoset into the shape of a pyramid, and I put him at the top.
You're an absolute king. Fantastic. Love it. Okay. We, in my fan ground, was always things like apples, cinnamon, walnuts, all that kind of stuff. It's yummy. And everyone eats it every year says, oh my gosh, this is so nice. We should have it all year round. And why don't we? And wasn't there Ben and Jerry's doing a charoset flavored ice cream? I think there was a whole, maybe that was just a hoax, but it would be really cool if they did. Okay. Moving swiftly on. Okay. So a mixture is made to look like cement. Often it's apple, cinnamon, all those kind of things. Red wine is added as well to represent the blood we shed whilst we were slaves. We will dip the maror in the charoset, which is sweet, to remind us that we can always find a spark of sweetness in every bad event that happens. Every cloud has its silver lining. Okay, KARPAS, that's also on the plate. That's any vegetable, vegetable, that one would say the blessing of Borei, Pri Adama. Common KARPAS is celery, potatoes. Some people even use onions, which is also crazy. Let's use onion. I don't know if I can do that. But of course, the Cowan family is well known for using banana. We talked about this last week. I can't really go into too much detail, but we do use banana, and you're welcome to copy because it's a cool thing to do. It gets everyone asking, oh my gosh, you really dip banana in salt water? And you say, yes. And it reminds you of the fact that the reason why we're doing it is to get everyone's to ignite everyone's, curiosity. What's going on tonight? It's a bit of a different night. Normally we don't do this here. We don't normally dip bananas in salt water. So that's something for us to do.
Oh, okay. Why is onion crazy? Because Chabad use onions, don't they?
It's because it's just, you haven't eaten much all day. You're going to start eating onion, like woo. I mean, that's a very Russian, no offense, Julia, but that's quite a Russian thing to do, isn't it, Julia? Would you agree? Raw onions is quite Russian.
Yes, probably, you're right.
I remember when I was in Shia, there was one guy in the morning, he'd have just raw onion for breakfast. I'm like, nicht for me. Okay. Moving swiftly on. Okay, last one is you need 3 matzah sheets for the Seder. Now, again, how much of the matzah do you have to eat? And we'll talk that a bit later on about how much you have to eat. And it's quite important to know the measurements. Why? Oh, come on, Rabbi Dov, do me a favor, just eat it. No, because like we said, this is the only biblical commandment which we do with eating. And we get to do it really once or twice a year. So you want to get it right. You want to eat the right amount. It's like a science. It's like a technology. You want to get it right. Someone like Adam Aloof, for example. Adam Aloof is an accountant, right? So he will know exactly the amount that of matzah he wants to eat. Am I right, Adam Aloof?
You're not wrong.
Exactly. Okay. Wine or grape juice? Wine or grape juice? It's the big controversy. Josh Kendall, is it wine or grape juice for Josh Kendall? Exactly. It's definitely wine for Josh Kendall. You decide. Again, it has to be, most important thing is something has to be something you enjoy, something which you enjoy. Hayden Steinberg, you more of a grape juice man or a wine man, Hayden?
Definitely wine.
Okay, me too. Okay, but choose a nice wine. It doesn't have to be like the sticky sweet stuff. You can just get a nice wine. I use the Jeunesse. I love the Jeunesse, beautiful wine, red wine. Okay, now you have to drink 4 cups of wine in the night. And each one is a reverse. That's basically around 90 ml is the amount. So you kind of just work it out. Go online and see how much 90 ml is. And to drink the majority of a cup of 90 ml to be able to do the mitzvah properly. Okay, lean to the left when eating the matzah and drinking your cups of wine, lean to the left. So far, so good, everyone. We're doing breakneck. It's breakneck through the Seder. So far, so good. Sharon is you're wonderful, Sharon. Always get the thumb up there. Okay, now, when do we start? Right, we can't start the Seder until after nightfall. This year it will be at 7:15 p.m. GMT on Saturday night. Now, a bit of a controversy about what's going to happen this year because, of course, Saturday night, the clocks will be moving forward. And if one is not using technology such as phones and clocks, I can't change a clock on Yom Tov. So it becomes an interesting question as to whether or not you'll be staying on GMT or moving to BST. So some of the shuls here in Golders Green are staying on GMT all the way till Monday night. The JLE is going to be actually moving to BST already on Friday before Shabbat starts. They're telling people to move their clocks to BST. Whatever, it's very, very complicated. To make things easy, I've just basically told you what GMT is on Saturday night, 7:15. I think you can get online, you can get all the other timings, but 7:15 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, Saturday night, you'll be able to start the Seder after that time. Also important to know, you can't be prepared for the Seder until Shabbat's gone out. Also important thing to know. So try and get as much as you can done before Shabbat starts. And then obviously once Shabbat finishes, that's when you just kind of get everything on the table, the Seder plate, get everything there, all ready to go. Okay, cool. So far, so good. Fantastic. Ben, give me a thumbs up. I want to see that thumbs up. Amazing. Absolute king. Okay,
do you still do Havdalah?
You're about to get there. Hayden, just you're 1 second away from me talking about it. Okay, you're nearly there. Sean, obviously, as a long time listener, first time caller, how's it going so far for you, Sean?
Pretty good. It was interesting about the KARPAS because my tutor told me that apparently, since KARPAS is so early on, it represents like how Joseph's brothers dipped his piece of clothing into the blood, representing apparently dying. So
yeah, exactly. So I mean, we'll come back to that. We're going to come to these things just each one. Okay, there are 15 steps to Seder, 15 steps to freedom, 15 steps. What we're going to be doing, it's like a journey. It's like almost like a board game. We're going to take 15 steps on Seder night. On Seder night, ladies and gentlemen, it is a hyper jump. We are taking a hyper jump. The power of Seder night is so magnificent. If you can just tap into it.
Can we make that slide bigger? Because I can't actually see the slide, I just see you, if that makes sense. The slide's in the corner of the screen, but I don't know if that's just me.
Is that everyone or just everyone share?
If you click on your settings, you can change it so you can view.
Oh, thanks, Emily. You fixed it. I just needed to click on it. You're right.
The slide's big and Rabbi.
Amazing. You guys are just
small.
You guys are just so great. We're all like helping each other out.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask. Thank you.
No, you guys are just like a fade. Everyone helping each other out. It's great. Okay, fine. But we got these 15 steps of the Seder. Let's go through it. Okay, jump in. KADESH. The leader of the Seder recites Kiddush. So that's the first cup of wine. Remember, 4 cups of wine on Seder night. 4 is a big number. Okay, the first cup is the Kiddush. Now, this year, whoever's saying that Kiddush, do not forget his Hayden Steinberg's question. Whoever's saying Kiddush, do not forget to say the Havdalah in the Kiddush. So if you have your Haggadah, you'll see that when it comes to the Kiddush, I've got the Havdalah, my Haggadah here, you will see that in one of those shaded boxes, it brings in the special bracha that you will say on Havdalah, right? What you would do is you'll say the bracha Borei Morei Ha'esh, okay, which is the bracha on the fire. And what you could do for that is normally you will have like a YACHATZ candle lit. Do you guys know what I mean by YACHATZ candle? The Ner Mitzvah, right? The kind of a long, because what you need is to do on Friday night, yeah. On Friday night, you light the Shabbos candles, and you also light, before Shabbat starts, this YACHATZ candle, which is like normally a 24-hour candle, a bit longer, maybe sometimes 48 hours. Okay, you can buy them. And then you will use the light of that candle in order to light the candles of Yom Tov. In other words, on Yom Tov, unlike Shabbat, one can light a candle, but you can't strike a match. You cannot strike a match on Yom Tov. Is that clear with everyone? You can use an existing flame. So therefore, on Friday, before Shabbat comes in, light your candles, also light this 48-hour Yom Tov YACHATZ candle. Then take from that YACHATZ candle to light your Yom Tov candles on Saturday night. And then you can say Havdalah. When you say Borei Morei Eish, you can do it on the Borei Morei Eish on the YACHATZ candle. We do not say the bracha on spices on a time when we go from Yom Tov, Shabbos into Yom Tov. We don't have a spices smell. Anyone know why? Everyone can go and guess why we don't do it on spices? Matias, ¿por qué?
I think I know.
Why do you grab me every time trying to go to the toilet?
Okay, sorry, mate. Well, we'll go to Freddie on line 3 then. That's Freddie, go for it.
Is it something to do, the reason you have spices is to console your soul between a holy and a non-holy day? And so if you're going from holy to holy, there's no need for such a consolation.
Freddie, you get gold. Amazing. Love it. You're 100% right.
Thank
I
you.
can't add any more than that, then you're 100% right. So the bracha is, you say Borei Morei Eish, followed by a special bracha, which is like Havdalah. Does that answer your question, Hayden?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, now, when the leaders finish saying KADESH, Kiddush, you sit down and you drink the wine. What's important to remember when you sit down and drink the wine? Meron. What's important to remember when you sit down and drink the wine, Meron? I'm calling people out.
One more time.
Yeah, man, I was just saying, like, when you come to drink that wine on the Seder night, like you do the first cup of wine. So what's very important to remember when you...
I gotta run. Can I call you guys back?
Yeah, man, you call me back, man. What do you got, Meron? What do we have to do when we drink that wine?
We lean left.
Oh, you're the man. We are leaning left, ladies and gentlemen. We're leaning left. And a little trick you can do is you take your chair and move the chair to the side, okay, and you sit like that and you kind of lean on your chair. So you kind of swivel your chair around onto the left-hand side and you lean and you drink. Okay, very, very cool. That's cup 1. That's KADESH. Cool. Moving on. Next one. KADESH URCHATZ. URCHATZ means to wash your hands. Okay. Now here's a really.
Can I just say really quickly on the leaning thing? You're meant to be leaning that if you just like kind of half lean, but actually if there was nothing there, you'd fall on the floor if you were to properly lean. That's not how you're meant to do it, are you? You're meant to like be properly
You're meant
leaning.
to really try and lean. That's why if you swivel your chair around and so the back of the chair is to your left, then it works perfectly.
Cool. I missed that because I lost you on the screen there.
Oh, okay, Ollie, I think you're going to love this idea. It's a beautiful idea, right? That URCHATZ means to wash, to become clean, right? So we go KADESH URCHATZ. So first we do the KADESH, which is the purification, which is the idea of sanctification, and then we do URCHATZ, which is the cleaning of the hands. But this is amazing. This is why Seder night is so special, guys. I actually started saying this before we had a question. This is the hyper jump of Seder night. Seder night, the power of Seder night is immense. On Seder night, Hashem comes and plucks us and takes us out of Egypt. We're so stuck in the mud. It's like the example that's used. I heard this in the name of a rabbi that Meron Amar is a big fan of, Rav Dov Ber Pinson. He says that, so have you ever been in that situation? I know that, for example, many times Serena Barnett has been in a situation where she's driving on the beach near Blackpool in Lytham St Anne's, and she drives her car onto the beach, and she's trying to get out. And there's that point where like the wheel is spinning in the sand. Has that ever happened to anyone before, where you've been on the beach or something like that, and you kind of spinning the wheel, and the wheel just goes, and it makes that whole problem where you're like so stuck you can't. Has that happened to anyone before, where you get so stuck you can't move? And the more you push down the accelerator, the more stuck you are. Does anyone know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Wheel spin.
Okay, right. Justin, at least someone. Okay, Luffy, that's never happened to you though, right? Because you know what to do in that situation.
Yeah, you changed into a higher gear. By the way,
Okay.
sorry.
Thank you, Freddie.
If you were asking.
So the idea is sometimes you're so stuck in that there's nothing you can't get yourself out. You need someone to come with a tractor or to come with a tow rope and pull you out. And that's what Pesach was all about. We were so stuck in Egypt. Hashem literally came and pulled us out. And therefore that's happening every year, and say that we're being pulled out. And it's not because of anything that we've done or that we deserve it. Hashem is coming. That's why we switch around. Normally you become pure and then you become sanctified. Normally URCHATZ then KADESH, but on Seder night it's different. On Seder night, Hashem sanctifies us, and then we go and wash our hands. It's a switch. First KADESH and then URCHATZ. So URCHATZ is the leader of the Seder. In some families, everyone does it. You wash your hands, but you do not say a bracha. And we go straight into the KARPAS, which Sean said just now before, is a memory of the fact that the brothers dipped the coat in the blood. And that was the whole process that started the trip down to Egypt. You get the KARPAS and you dip it in salt water. We said that KARPAS, again, anything which is a brave pre-adama, that's potato or celery or parsley or banana, okay? You dip it in. It has to be less than 15 grams, okay? And when you say the bracha, you're going to say the bracha, borei pre-adama. If you can, try and have in mind that bracha is covering you also later on for the MAROR, which you're going to eat a little bit later. You say the bracha and you eat the KARPAS. Boom! Next up is YACHATZ. YACHATZ, okay? You got your 3 matzahs, okay? You got your 3 matzahs. You got 1, 2, 3 matzahs. It's because I've got my virtual bank company. See? You have 3 matzahs. What you do, the leader takes the middle matzah and you will break that middle matzah into 2. You snap the middle matzah in 2. The smaller part you leave, and the larger part you wrap, and that's going to be the afikoman later on. Okay? There's something so deep and powerful about the idea of the broken matzah. We've spoken about this many times. The idea of celebrating on a night when we can know what it means to be broken. We're so focused throughout the year on being whole. We spend so much of our time feeling whole, being complete. We've got to be complete. But the truth is, it's quite a lot of pain sometimes when we kind of have that niggling feeling that maybe we're not complete. Now in Pesach, we turn around and say, you know what? It's okay sometimes to feel incomplete. It's okay sometimes to feel like we're lacking something. I saw a beautiful idea from Rabbi Jacobson. He tells the story. In fact, he quotes the story. There's a famous, I've got it here, I read it earlier, beautiful idea that I have to share with you. There was an author of kids' books whose name was Alan Silverstein. And he wrote a book many years ago for kids, and the story was all about a circle. It was a kid's story about a circle that suddenly was missing a triangle. It was missing a triangular wedge. So the circle went off to find the bit that was missing. But because it had a bit missing now, as it was rolling through the world, it was going quite slowly. So as it was going through, it was like seeing the flowers, seeing the worms, seeing the leaves, chatting to all the different animals and people as it was going on its way, trying to become complete. And finally, eventually, it found that nice triangular wedge, and it was complete and beautiful, and the wedge came in, it fit beautifully and perfectly, fantastic. But then that circle was now running through the world. It's so fast, and it's going so fast, it missed all the people and the flowers and the leaves and the conversations and the worms, and missed everything. And so actually, eventually, it took that piece and put it out again and wanted to be back going slowly through the world. And Rabbi Wai brings this as a beautiful idea that, you know, sometimes we feel we can feel like we're a loser, we're lacking, we're not whole. Maybe it's because we haven't found our life partner yet. Maybe because we haven't found the perfect job yet. Maybe we feel inside we haven't found ourselves yet. And there's a lacking and there's a feeling of emptiness. But no, sometimes it's okay to be in that place, to be in that moment, feel a little bit broken. It's okay, and realize that the only true place of unconditional love is from the one above. The one above is the only place that can really fill you with unconditional love. And that's probably one of the truest statements that you'll ever hear from me. And I can ratify that from my own life experiences. The only place where you get true, complete, unconditional love is from Hashem. And to feel that on Pesach is something so powerful. Like I said, we're hyper jumping tonight. It's beyond words, it's beyond time, it's beyond everything. Pesach is the most special, wonderful experience if you can tap into it. Okay, let's go. Next, Magid. Magid is just spectacular. Magid is the main meat and potatoes. Spend your time in Magid, guys. Magid starts already with Ma Nishtana. We did this last week's class. The 4 questions of Ma Nishtana, going through, the Seder, going through. We start with Halach Ma'anya. We hold up the bread and say, this is the bread of affliction. And we invite people to the Seder. And here's another good question. Why are we inviting people to the Seder already when it's begun? Makes no sense. If you're inviting people to the Seder, invite them 2 weeks before. With you guys, some of you UYPs, you have to invite like months in advance, right? But why are we inviting on the night? So again, I had this beautiful idea again from Rabbi YY. He said that we're not inviting others, we're actually inviting ourselves to the Seder. He gives the beautiful example. Oftentimes you get on a flight, it's been a long time, it's been for some of us nearly a year since we were on a flight. You get on a flight and they start showing the safety video with safety instructions. Come on, guys, how many of you actually watch the video? How many of you pay attention to the video when they're showing the safety instructions and they're showing where the life jacket is and what to do, how to evacuate the plane? Miron does. Okay, but apart from Miron, how many of you are actually watching it? Emily, do you actually bother watching the safety video? I'm not sure.
No.
You're right. Olga, what about you? Olga, est-ce que vous comment dire, regardez sur l'écran quand on fait le safety video dans l'avion? Exactly. So most of us don't actually bother watching the screen. So he's saying the same thing Seder night. You get to be there every year, same thing, Ma Nishtana, Matza, MAROR wine. We could go through the whole experience without actually being present. So it's an invitation. Halach Ma'ani is an invitation for ourselves. Invite yourself to the Seder and be there. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be that Seder Miron. You know what I'm saying? Okay, beautiful. God, I'm loving this, man. You guys are so special. Okay, fine. This is the mitzvah to tell over the story of the Exodus, even if you have a PhD in Exodus studies from Exeter University. Would that make sense, Aloof? Exodus studies from Exeter?
I don't like to think about it. Nothing makes sense next to.
Okay, it's true. Steve Bernstein, if you would do Exeter studies, it would be either the Bob Marley University or it would be Exeter.
Oh, definitely like Bob Marley. Like, yeah.
Exodus.
Movement of Jah people.
Movement of Jah people. Okay, anyway. Sean's turned his screen off because he was so disgusted that I was singing Bob Marley. Sean, I'm sorry, you can switch your screen back on again. Okay. Now, it's not going to get the mitzvah, tell over the story. Even if you're PhD, you've got to tell it again and again. The more you tell over the story, the more meshubach, more praiseworthy it is, because the more involved you get with it. Read your Haggadahs, get some printouts before Shabbat comes in, print some things out, and go through it, talk it out with everyone. Don't just run through to the end, okay? That is Magad. It's a great treat, like I said here. And go through. We've got Dayenu, everything, template. I think you guys know about that. The second cup of wine, you lean to the left and you drink that wine at the end of Magid. Now, Magid can take a long time in my family. That's where the meat and potatoes is. We spend normally an hour and a half just on Magid, going through the story ourselves. Okay, Ben Saunders, Ben Laniado Saunders. Ben, are you there, Ben Laniado Saunders?
That is my name.
Ben, how's it going so far for you tonight?
Good.
Helpful? You haven't asked
sorry?
any questions, which I feel free to ask, Ben. Because
No, I'm just observing.
You're just an innocent observer. Okay, fantastic.
That's my job title, the innocent observer.
So good. So keep it up. Okay, now, so the end of Magid is when we've told the story. We've gone through the past. We've gone through what's happened. You are there at that moment, telling over the story to yourself, to each other. You're part of a chain that goes back 3,333 years. You are linking yourself to history. You're linking yourself to the past, the present, and of course to the future of your people. Okay, there's a famous story about how David Ben-Gurion went to the Peel Commission in the 1930s. The Peel Commission was blocking Jews from coming to the land of Israel. And he went to speak, and David Ben-Gurion turned to them and said that in 1620, the Mayflower left which town in England? Aloof, I'm setting you up here, Aloof. Which town did the Mayflower leave from?
I don't know, but they came to Boston.
They did come to Boston. But this is a question specifically for Adam Aloof. Adam, are you there? No, no Aloof. Okay, fine.
Wow.
And that's, yeah, wow, Steve. I know that's a bit of a wow, isn't it?
Is
Where
it
did
because it's Plymouth? That's why you asked Adam.
Yeah, exactly. But he missed his chance. Okay, what a shame. Okay, fine. The Plymouth, they left Plymouth, right? But and they made their way to America. It was a momentous occasion in the history of England and the history of America. The first white colonialist settlers that came to America started the whole United States of America, the whole thing. And he said, David Ben Gurion famously said, yet none of you would know the names of any of the people that were on that Mayflower, how many people were on the boat, what they ate when they went on the trip. None of you know that, but it was the start of your nation. But we've got 3,000 years ago, and we know the names of the leaders. We know what they ate. We know how many they were. We know everything. Because every single year, year in, year out, we gather together and tell the story because it's part of something so fundamental to our existence, to know our past, because we know our past. In the words of Bob Marley, if you know your history, then you will know where you're coming from. Then you wouldn't have to ask me, who the hell do you think I am? Okay, just I don't know if it's such a Bob Marley tonight. Miron's smiling. Don't know how many other rabbis there are giving Seder night specials singing Bob.
Venice Beach.
Okay, let's keep on. Okay, next one. After that, we do YACHATZ. YACHATZ. We wash our hands. Now, this time, everyone, you wash your hands, all of you. This is like we say the bracha of Al Natilat Yadayim, and it's time for Motzi Matza. Motzi means literally where you take the bracha, you make the bracha of Hamotzi Lechem Min Haaretz. So you'll take now for the bracha. Now, Freddie, you watching this? Freddie, you there? Rico?
Of course, of course.
Okay, so now, maybe I'll turn off the screen for this one.
By the way, will you be sharing these notes afterwards?
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Okay, so you can't really see here. I couldn't get hold of matzahs because they were kind of locked up. So I've got like pieces of cardboard, which some might say are, for some people, similar to what a matzah is. But okay, so you take all three matzahs in your hand. The top one is whole, the middle one is half, and the bottom one is whole. And you would take all three of them, you say the bracha of Baruch Atah Hashem, Hamoitzi Lechem Min Haaretz, on all three matzahs. You got that, everyone? You would then drop the bottom one down, okay? And now you're holding the top two matzahs. And as you hold the top two matzahs, you say the bracha of Baruch Atah Hashem Sheki Shalom Rizlan V'Tzivanu Al Achilas Matzah, which is the special blessing we say before eating matzah, which is a mitzvah, okay? Now it's time to eat. How much do you have to eat? Very good, okay? Each person needs to eat what's called a kazais, which is an olive's worth of matzah, which is basically what we call half of a machine-baked matzah. So those sheets of matzah you get, like whether it's with Kuzans or Jerusalem matzahs, I don't know what Steve got from Kosher Kingdom, the amount of half of one of those machine matzahs is how much you're going to have to eat to be able to that. Very good. Beautiful, Steve, showing us what he's got. The amount of half of one of those is a kazais amount you're going to have to eat when you are having your Seder night. So everyone, again, it depends on each person's situation, whether you're doing a Seder with everybody there. Okay, Steve, we'll have to talk about that a bit later because egg matzahs.
All different matzah.
Okay, so we need to talk about the egg matzahs a bit just for a second. That is for Ashkenazi. And so that's Sharon, you're out of this one. You don't have to worry because you're Sephardi. The Sephardi's amongst us, egg matzahs are fine. Okay, the Ashkenazis amongst us, egg matzahs are a no-no for Pesach. Okay, those who want more details, come to me later for more. But if you're Ashki, then we ain't having no egg matzahs on Pesach. Okay, unless
hold on, they're not coming.
It's not a kitniot. No, it's not a kitniot at all. It's something completely separate.
Not for the Seder night, but you can eat it throughout.
No, that's not the case.
Wow. Oh God, I've just bought loads because
for
Friday.
Sorry. The only reason, only case where people could have egg matzahs is in the case of someone who's very ill or very old who, for some reason, regular matzah wouldn't work for them.
Can I keep it in the house or do I have to get rid of it?
You really should sell it.
Oh my God.
So then why do you have like egg matzah and like KK or in Kosher Kingdom if most of the people can't actually eat it?
It's an excellent question. I don't know why they have egg matzah there. I really don't know. Good question.
They taste really good.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what else tastes really good.
Regular matzah.
And no, I was gonna actually just go.
It actually doesn't.
Okay, no, but I'll tell you something else.
I thought you
was
called
when,
it
when I
reggae
grew up,
Matza
I
for a
want to put it out
sec.
there very clearly. When I grew up, I was the same. I no one ever told me this as well. It wasn't commonly explained, and I remember also egg matzahs, they're yummy, especially stick some jam on that. I mean, it's calorific. You're putting on weight like nobody's business with that stuff. But at the end of the day, it is actually now again. If you want to,
What's the short answer? What's the short answer?
The short answer is that according to Rashi, our great, amazing rabbinic sage from France, from Troyes in the 1000s, says that it's chametz. It's actually chametz. Now, there are other people who disagree with him and say it's not chametz, but Ashkenazi psak halacha, the way we go, holds like Rashi and says that we will treat it as if it's chametz and therefore we don't have it. Whereas the Shulchan Aruch, he was Rabbi Yosef Karo in Sfat in the 1500s. He made the rules for Sephardis. He does not say that Rashi's opinion is right, and therefore he says one can have egg matzahs. So if you're Sephardi, you're going to have egg matzahs, and if you are Ashkenazi, you don't. That just goes into some of the things that there are a number of places where Ashkenazis and Sepharis do different things. It's just the reality, you know.
Just a quick aside, is being Ashki Sephardi a bit like gender identity? I can self-identify as Sephardi.
In today's day and age, Steve, you
Yeah,
can.
2021, right? I feel Sephardi, therefore I am Sephardi.
Steve, if you want to be that, then you are that.
Ollie's giving you a plug now. I'll tell you this much. It's a good question like this. If a person does actually turn around and say, you know what, I feel that this actually happens quite often with, for example, someone goes to live in a Sephardi country or vice versa. In fact, do you want to hear something really cool? Do you want a bit of like really cool trivia? Emily will love this. If you meet someone who has a surname Ashkenazi, sometimes you meet people, their surname actually is Ashkenazi, they're more than likely going to be Sephardi. Why? Because it means that they are from an Ashkenazi family, and therefore they were known as the Ashkenazi living amongst the Sfardis, hence they got the surname Ashkenazi. In fact, the Arizal, who the great Kabbalistic, the one who basically, what do you call it? He was the great sage who taught the Kabbalah to us. His surname was Ashkenazi. So if you meet people nowadays whose surname is Ashkenazi, which happens sometimes, they're more than likely a Sephardi, because their family lived in places like Turkey or even Israel for so many years. So if you live, for example, as an Ashkenazi in Sephardi lands, let's say Meron, let's say I moved 120 years ago to Morocco, and I was living amongst, and I knew only the Sephardi prayers, then I could turn around at that point and say, look, you know what, I want to identify as a Sephardi. I know the Sephardi prayers better. What's called, there's something called Nadarim. Nadarim is, can you see, am I still there? Can you hear me? Yes, no?
Bit crackly.
Okay, my internet, I just went off and then on again. Okay, a nether is a vow. So it's like almost like with a family you're born into, it almost like locks you into a vow that you come out of that vow and say that I want to now become like a Sephardi. So it's like an important thing. But once you do it, you do it. That's it. You move over completely, and it's no switching back. You can't keep like 1 year, like Steve's looking at me like, this year I fancy a bit of a Sephardi, next year go for Ashki, like jumping on to the other. You can't do that. It's like once you decide, you decide. The other way around, it's very common here in England, is you get a lot of people who are Sephardi who grew up in like United Synagogue, you know, going to, you know, so they like take on like Ashkenazi. So you can to a certain extent self-identify, as you said, Steve, but it's the full hog, which means like this: Sephardis get up every single morning of the month of Elul and do selichot every single day for the entire month. We Ashkenazis don't do that. We do it from a week before. So if you want to be Sephardi, go for it. That means you have to get up every morning for most of the month of like September. But again, that's this again. There's also very beautiful, I think, about the idea of customs and having your family customs. I know some of you have got married. I know a number of you like getting married, have got married, and we've talked about different customs at the wedding. But I think it's quite nice to know like where your family comes from and being proud of like your family traditions and where like all through years. Like Meron, you wouldn't give up your Sephardi stuff for anything, right? You're a proud Moroccan in every way, Nachon?
1,000,000%.
This guy's Moroccan like you would believe, right? Okay.
I know. Look how white I am.
Yeah, you're right. I'm more Sfai looking than you. Whereas you got someone like an Ollie Burns, for example. Ollie, Ollie is more Ashkenazi than Schmaltz Herring.
Really? I'm that bad?
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Sharon, you're a proper Sephardi. I can't take that from you. You're a massive Sephardi.
We're 100% Sephardi from
Exactly.
top to end.
My grandpa's from India, Rabbi, so I can't be that ASCII.
Okay. I'm sorry. I apologize.
My dog.
Yes.
We were doing some ancestry.com over the summer, and really surprisingly, I found out I'm 132.
Oh, the internet just cut. At
What? I missed that.
You don't know what it was. We're in suspense now.
Wait, it could be anything. What we got to like guess?
Emily, are you there, Emily?
Hello?
Emily, we lost you at the exact
Yeah,
moment.
I'm here. Sorry, bad internet.
We lost you at that exact moment.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So we were doing ancestry.com and we found out that I'm 132 Sephardi, which we now joke about because.
Well, the truth is, let's be honest, right? We all originally came out of Egypt together. So I often tell people, Freddie, you're like this one. When people ask me, I always say, yeah, I'm Sephardi. My family's Egyptian. They're like, oh, Egyptian. I'm like, yeah. We left with Moses 3,000 years ago, but we are Egyptian originally. And they was like, oh, you are a very funny rabbi. Okay, anyway.
I very much enjoyed that. Thank you.
Okay, that's Steve. So I would say again.
Egg matza, yes, no?
No, it's a no. Sorry, but you can sell it. Sell it with your comments you're going to send me tonight.
Steve, where have you been for the last 10 minutes?
No, I said like there's like a workaround that I've got to get up early to do prayers, basically.
No workarounds unless you want to self-identify. We've been through that as well.
Josh Kendall. Josh, are you actually with us, Josh?
From the Spanish government saying, I am Sephardic.
Okay, there you go. Matthias is phenomenal.
Rav.
Yeah.
I'm Greenblatt, but I'm legit.
Rav, when I first met you, you actually assumed my minhagim, and I'm very, very upset about that.
Oh gosh, Con, what did I do?
You told me that my minhagim were actually Ashkenazi, but they're not. So I just wanted to announce that.
You used the wrong pronoun, Rabbi. Used the wrong pronoun.
Sorry, so what?
I'm still very, very offended about it.
I'm so sorry, man. So what did I say that was so? I said you were Ashki.
I know, yeah. You assumed I'm.
Well, actually, no. To a certain extent, your dad is Ashki, right?
Yeah, but he had no minhagim, so I got.
Okay, so I wasn't so wrong. It's not your dad is Sephardi. Your dad is Ashk. So.
Oh yeah, he's basically a Cossack.
Okay, well,
pretty much.
Okay, right. So well, there you go. But the point is that means you are sort of Ashkenazi, but you've taken on your mum's side, which is but that's like a deal. That means that you've taken it on, right? Whereas I am even though I look Sephardi, I am Ashkenazi, 100% Ashkenazi. I'm an Ashkenazi as gefilte fish, and Freddie Fulton will back me up for that one. Freddie, you're one of my fellows. There aren't that many of us here. Although
I'm super Ashkenazi. My grandpa's from Poland and everything.
Yeah, exactly. But I have to say, Daria being Italian, you have to understand the Italians are their own complete. They stand apart. There's Sephardis, Ashkenazis, and Italians, right, Daria?
Yeah, I mean, I am half Sephardic and half Roman, which Roman has a different minhag.
That's everything different, yeah.
Yeah.
You're a Roman, Brian. Okay, but the point is that it's all different. Okay, but anyway, let's go back in again. So egg matzah is if you're Ashkenazi, it's a no. Sorry, Steve. We'll be TBD a bit later. Self-identification, etc. Good question. I like it. Now, so we said it's a half of a machine matzah is 16 grams. That's how much you have to eat on Seder night, and try and have some of the matzah from the leader's top two matzahs as well. Lean to the left and eat your matzah. Moving on, maror. Again, you need to have like a roughly 6-inch by 7.
Rabbi, sorry to interrupt. These instructions, I'm not going to remember them. Are they in the Haggadah?
I'm sending you this all, guys.
Will they not be in the Haggadah? This whole thing with the matzahs.
It will be as well, but I'm sending you like I'm preparing this. I checked in with a few people also to get like an amount that was, I think, like that, because you'll get, unfortunately, different Haggadahs. So you have this much, that much. So I checked it to what I felt was the right amount. That I think it's totally halachic, But for some people, it might be even more. And then it gets like too much. Like, I can't eat that much matzah. Like I'll absolutely explode. Crunch, 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 crunch. So this is like what I think is going to make sense that you can still do and still fulfill. Okay. The romaine lettuce, 6 inches by 7-inch piece. Or if you're having the grated horseradish, around 2 tablespoons worth of grated horseradish, you dip it in the charoises. You say the bracha. Oh, sorry, there's no bracha. Apologies. I don't know why. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yes, you do say the bracha. Yes, of course you do. Of al achilas maror. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, shekishanu b'mitzvah mitzvanu al achilas maror. And then you eat the maror, but you don't lean for the maror because it's not a celebration of being free. Okay. Next, korech is the sandwich. Hillel was a sage at the time of the Second Temple. He would take his matzah and lamb from the Paschal sacrifice and the maror, and he'd make the world's first sandwich, even before the Earl of Sandwich. And every year we emulate that. So we take the bottom matzah, which is so far untouched. Again, half a sheet's worth. Everyone has supplement from if you don't have enough, you just supplement, make sure it's got the amount that would be half a matzah. Okay, and you take the maror, the same amount of maror from 4, some charoiset, put it in the sandwich, and there's a declaration that you say of like this is a memory of when we Hillel would eat the sandwich in the Beit HaMikdash, in the temple, and you eat the sandwich in the Beit HaMikdash. So please go to the Beit HaMikdash, actually in your homes. Wow, hopefully that was like a prophecy, Meron, that I said, like that was. Again, I'm sending you all of these documents, so you've got it. So don't stress. They're like, no, I don't get these things. You'll have it with you, okay? Someone wanted to say something? Nope. Okay. Next, after that is Shulchan Aruch. That's your festive dinner. You've got to enjoy yourselves. People have eggs and salt water, whatever the stuff. That's a very Ashkenazi tradition. So, of course, Steve, now that you're self-identifying as Sephardi, there's none of that for you, unfortunately. You're going to be
we still have to eat an egg, but it's just not in salt water.
Yeah, so it's all a bit different. All right, okay. We're all different, okay? But you have a festive
I'm sure it'll go lovely on my egg matzah, don't worry.
Okay, good, Steve. Steve's now Sephardi, everyone. I'm very excited for that.
Then you need some leeks, Steve, for the table. You've got to whip everyone.
They whip each other with leeks and stuff as well.
What?
No, don't get him excited. It's all right. We'll move on.
Whip each other with leeks.
I love it. Yeah. And I get rice as well with.
Well, Steve, we'll talk later. I'm gonna have to deal with that. Thank you. I've opened that can of kidney. Okay, now Safun is okay. Safun is the afikomen. Okay, now we have no lamb for the Paschal sacrifice anymore because we don't offer it because there's no temple. However, we eat matzah instead. So this really is the first ever meat alternative in history. They're so busy making, kind of, what do you call it, bacon and all that kind of stuff. The reality is that we just use a bit of matzah and pretend it's meat. That's what we're doing. So you have to find the afikomen. Obviously, Steve's favorite part, again, looking for the afikomen. And then you take the afikomen and, again, half a machine's worth of matzah, lean to the left and you eat it. That's the dessert. That's when you finish the meal. Because in the time of the temple, when you ate that lamb, it had to be, there was the taste of lamb was in your mouth at the end. That's the thing, was the remnant, there was the taste of meat, the taste of lamb was what carried you through to the end of the evening, to the end of the thing. So you would have the lamb at the end. Al hasova, you weren't eating the lamb because you were hungry, you're eating the lamb because it's a mitzvah. So therefore you already have the food inside you and you eat the lamb afterwards. We have the matzah at the end, the afikomen. Okay, remember what we're doing here, this is a technology, it's a science. Everything we're doing is these 15 steps, you do them properly, you're switching on the lights, you're allowing the energy flow to come down. This is
sorry, just on that point, is the meal supposed to be lamb then, not chicken?
No. Well, you can have lamb, you can't roast the lamb. You can have like in a sauce, that kind of stuff, you cannot roast it. Okay, fun. Okay, fantastic. Okay, cool. I just want to write the thing. Okay, now. Okay, matzah shmura. Someone asked about matzah shmura. What's the difference between matzah shmura? Shmura matzah is something which has been guarded. It means that the wheat has been guarded the whole year round. That's what shmura means. And so it's something which is a good thing. It means that they've made sure that no rain hit it, no water hit it. There's no chance that water touched the kernels and made it sprout. That's what shmura matzah means. If we were asked between shmura matzah and normal matzah is fine. Shmura matzah is what's called a chumrah. It's basically it's like the same, if like you would have like iPhone, whatever, like Apple kind of, to use Steve language, you want to get from you want to get it from the factory where you know 1,000% that it's definitely Apple original products and not like a Chinese thing. So therefore you kind of would pay someone extra money to make sure that it's only Apple products coming in. That's the difference between the two. Again, is regular matzah fine? It's fine. No one should walk out of this class saying it's not fine. It is fine. You just want to make sure shmur matzah means it's been guarded. You know exactly what's going on the whole way around. Okay, sorry about this. I did jump a thing. Sorry, I don't know why I can't go back. Yeah, so that's it. Ideally, afikoman should be eaten by halachic midnight, which is 12:06 GMT. And lastly, barech, benching, give it all you got. End of the benching, drink the third cup of wine, and welcome in Elijah the prophet. The first part of the whole Seder night before the meal is about the past, what happened to us in the past, and after the meal we start talking about the future. Eliyahu Navi, the future, the Mashiach, the time of redemption is coming. Seder night is a rishimu. It's a moment we can start to feel a little bit of the glow of Mashiach on that night, on Seder night. Redemption is here. It's present on Seder night. Just tap into it. Close your eyes and breathe and be there. Lastly, Hallel, sing out in praise and sing out thanks to Hashem. For the fourth cup of wine, at the end, we sing. The next year will be in Jerusalem. And then there's Nirtza. Nirtza means that you've done your best. Hashem is happy with what you've got. That's what Nirtza means. Okay, you do Who Knows One, Steve's favorite, Chad Gadya, and you finish off the whole Seder by saying, Hashem, at the end of the day, there's so many questions, there's so many unanswered questions, but you know what? I trust you and I believe in you. That's what you should leave your Seder night feeling, a tremendous sense of emunah, powerful emunah. We start off, as Rav Moshe Weinberger, my Rebbe says, we start off the Seder night with Ma Nishtana. Ma means what, right? We're asking what's going on, and we finish with me, Echad mi odeh, who. We as Jews, we're not necessarily always focused on the what. Yes, it's important to know how things work. We as Jews, we are fueled by the power of me, who. Who is behind this whole thing? Who is it all about? It's all about Hashem, and it's about building and solidifying and cementing that relationship with Hashem. That's what Seder night's all about. And that's why many people have a minhag at the end of Seder, when everyone's dropping off and going to sleep, you pull out this book called Shir HaShirim, which means the Song of Songs. It's basically a love song with the Jewish people and Hashem, and you say it at the end of Seder. It's basically saying, Hashem, I'm totally and utterly in love with you. I feel protected by you, and I know that you are there for me in every situation. It's this emunah that exudes at the end of the Seder. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been 15 steps. It's been a lot of fun. You probably got lots of questions. I hope that was helpful.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it was great.
Thanks, Rabbi. Really sorry. I need to go through the question about Havdalah again. Sorry,
Okay, sure.
I wasn't fully paying attention when you spoke about it before.
Fine. No worries.